I am a temple who walks the earth. My womb is fertile for giving birth. I am a woman planted in truth. I grow my branches from sacred roots. You are the form of who you want to be. So come untethered, your soul is free. We're here to heal, we're here to thrive. We are a dream who's come alive. We light a candle, our hearts awake. Illumination for God's sake. A revelation for God's sake. An evolution for God's sake. An inspiration for God's sake. 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 For God's sake.
And so it is. Hello, Essence. This is Jody England, and you are listening to Wild Soul Medicine Radio. What a beautiful day it is. I am enjoying every single drop of the beauty of the finishing of summer and the beginning of fall, and even in the intensity of the downloads and the vibrations that have been happening. It's still exquisite. It is just exquisite to me. I've never experienced anything like it. And I feel like I'm on a journey, every single day, I'm outside in the sun, and my senses are being enlivened, and my body is being remodeled. And when I close my eyes, I'm seeing sacred geometry and symbols, and it's a lot. It's a lot. Very cosmic and divine indeed. And also, as I mentioned in the announcement for the show, I get curious, I was really checking into is the whole download for everyone about support? Or will it be particularities related to soul paths and where you are in your learning? And, will you get the next level of freedom in your path, or will everybody be getting support and love, And I actually feel like it's both. That's what feels true to me in this moment is there will be particularities, like places where you've been engaged or struggling in particular attachments, whatever your flavor of those attachments might be, like putting yourself out in the world, or, being more whole in relationship, or, your exchange with life. I mean, all of those pieces we will be getting upgrades and help with. And then overall, there is this, there's a general download that it looks to me like everyone's getting, and it is around this general higher vibration of love and support. And of course, love is the highest vibration in the universe. So if we're going to get an upgrade, it's necessarily going to include that. And it really, I do really feel this potency of the support. So it's like love, and then it's love through support is what the experience is that I'm having. And I'm discovering about myself that I know that I'm a soul tracker, and I do tend to be on the edge and on the forefront. And I'm noticing the same with these cosmic energies, that I tend to process them a couple days or even sometimes a week or so in advance. And that doesn't mean anything other than that. That's just part of my flavor. And so what I'm experiencing is what it looks like somewhat on the other side of this. And I'm not done. I still have all the way through the end of Monday. I can see there will be magnificent upgrades happening. But I was just really on fire this morning to share this one because I've been awestruck by it as it's been occurring, and it's been a palpable difference in my experience. And So that's what we're going to talk about today, since we're all getting this general download, and your system may or may not be fighting it. I think a lot of systems are fighting it subconsciously, right? Because of course, consciously, we all want the download and we all want support. And then subconsciously, our body can be wired against it because, we've had a whole lifetime of experiences where we counted on support and it didn't happen, or we desired support and we got disappointed, or we needed support and we were unsafe because we didn't get it. And so our system learns to orient itself around, don't do that again. Don't do that again, because we have to protect ourselves. And so we start to create lives where we aren't supported because we aren't available for it. And then we create experiences that reflect the energetic of what's happening in our system. And so then we can point to even more experiences of like, see, support doesn't exist, or it exists for other people, but not for me. And funny, even sometimes the people we're pointing to, assuming support exists for them, it looks like support from the outside, but they can't actually experience it as support either because their system isn't actually able to speak that language. And I think this is largely indicative of the human experience. This is part of the DNA upgrade that's needing to happen, is because density is so prevalent in the human experience, there's this disconnect of being able to feel and know that we are indeed connected to source and that we are indeed supported beyond the realm of this, 3D planet. And so that actually excites me a lot, of course, because I play in those realms myself, and to actually begin to have more people waking up to that and an even more palpable experience of what that support looks and feels like feels super exciting in my system. So I want to share, I feel like I want to share what I've been experiencing, and then we'll kind of review what it used to look like. So I was, my favorite place these days is I have this beautiful round, thing that we can lay on out by the pool. And I'm going to ask Lance to take a picture for us so that I can post it and you can see, like, this is my download spot. But it's right up by my pool, and the sun just shines right there, and the sky has been the most gorgeous aqua blue with not even any clouds. I mean, at least over my house, it is gorgeous here. And so we were laying there yesterday, and I said, what I'm present to, it's kind of like when I talked about separating from my birth family, like I always had this low level of shame, but it's like I didn't know exactly how pervasive it was until it stopped. And then it was like, oh my God, that was a big deal. Same with this. So what I got present to is how my system has always been wired to check, right? So I'm always tracking what needs done, where things are, where they need to be, where they could be, where they're going, all of that. And what I noticed is that I always also have this almost like a despair or a longing for, I just wish everything could work out at the same time. I just wish, kind of that feeling like right before you have company over and your house is perfect and everything's in its place, and the food all looks good and the kids are all dressed nice, and those fleeting moments where it feels like okay, we are all together, everything is all together, and then that lasts for like a second, and then the kids get messy and the people come and the food gets half eaten, and all of that. And so what I actually got present to was the absence of that. Like, as I was laying there, I was checking through all of the places that I normally would, like what needs to happen in the business, and, is dinner ready? And then, what projects need done at my house? And then, what's happening relationship wise? And then what about clients? And then, and every place I checked, it was like, perfect. Like nothing actually needs done. And I was like, oh my, and not even just done in this moment, but like done, like, so good, will be good from now on. That's the feeling in my system. And so I mentioned that to my husband. I said, this is awesome. I have longed for this my entire life. So much of my whole drive to do all the things I've been doing is because I just felt like I wanted to reach a place like this. And honestly, I didn't think it was possible. I just sort of thought, that's how I motivate myself. And always, I know what I really need to do is get used to the feeling of things not being done. And I've done a lot of work around that. I've really worked to let go of my attachments to things needing to be done and to the doing. And, that of course is the medicine. And so what I started to look into energetically was like, okay, so is this a practical piece where just literally I've done a lot of beautiful things, and so I'm kind of here in this oasis of respite, or is it that there's a real difference in my mindset, and so I just feel like everything's good, even though probably there are projects that could be done. And what I discovered is actually it doesn't matter. Actually, it doesn't matter because the feeling is phenomenal. And gosh, so what do I want to say about that? So what's interesting to me is how it's one thing when you know something. So I've heard many, many times over, my evolutionary path, this idea that, the happiest people are people who are who believe that they are fundamentally supported by the universe, that the universe conspires on their behalf for their good. And I got that intellectually. I understood it. It makes sense given what I believe about God and our creation and the plan that all of it is. And yet there was this subconscious part of me that believed it's not for me. It might be like that for other people, but I don't have evidence of it. I don't see it. I don't know how to access it. It literally is like a language my system could not speak. And now it's like waking up one morning and feeling like suddenly I can speak, fluent Spanish, when yesterday I only understood a couple words. I could only count to 10 in Spanish yesterday, and today I can have a full conversation. And the feeling is like in every cell of my body, I can feel myself being loved and supported by the universe. I look at the, and now instead of looking at what needs to be done, what I'm seeing is the perfection that what has been done has all been on my behalf. Everything from I'm laying on this beautiful, piece of lounge equipment and like seeing the ordering of it and the choosing of it and the arrival of it and the placement of it and all of the hands that conspired to bring that together so that in this moment I'm laying upon it, having this awareness, right? And then, the beauty of my place and seeing the perfection of the remodeling that we did to make it so gorgeous and how that all came together so perfectly to enjoy this particular day on this particular series of energetic events at, in this alignment of cosmic energies. I mean, it's everything. And that my husband has the job that he has and that we've done the work we've done so that in our relationship, here we are laying together, loving one another and having this awareness and being available to have this awareness. And then that, that my business has happened in such a way that I'm financially resourced and able to have been afforded all of these pieces and to not have to actually work that afternoon if I don't want to. It's literally everything. And then it just moves me. It moves me so much because I can feel and see the guides and the spirits that are holding space for us literally with their faces and their noses and their hands pressed against the veil. Really, they literally can reach out and touch us right now, right? They can just push right through the veil and actually caress us in our most tender, frazzled places, and they're actually doing it. That's what they're saying right now. They're saying, let them know we're already doing it. And so, in this moment, if you're feeling like, where is this all going? Or we talked last week about trying to find a gear and like, what if the gear was already chosen? And what if the gear was just for you. I talked with a friend this week who was saying, I can feel that I'm becoming a different person and I don't know how I'm going to explain this to people. And I said to her, honey, what if it's not for anyone else? It's just for you. It doesn't need explained. Here I am explaining this to you. I have no idea if you get it. And it doesn't matter to me because it feels so good that I'll just take the upgrade. I'll just take the upgrade, and it feels amazing to be in my body and my system right now. And I want that for you too, So today we're really creating a bridge between, whatever turbulence there might be happening in your system and softening that so that these uploads and downgrades and harmonics that are being played like music into your system, the request from our guides and helpers is stop fighting it, right? Stop fighting it. It's only for your own good. There's nothing happening that would ever hurt you because you're so loved. You're so loved. And so they're saying, allow us to assist you, right? So let's just deepen in and see, do we even need to know my old story about support? There may be a piece there. Let me tune in and ask. Yeah, there's a few things. Okay. So what my fighting of support has looked like in my life in the past is, I would routinely not hire support for the right job, right? So I would hire someone I loved, but who wasn't actually in the role they needed to be in. And, it's so funny because the players in my life are mostly the same players who've been here with me for the last few years. And what I'm really getting clear with this download is that even when I knew it wasn't about them, there was a part of my system that believed it was about them, right? So I would say things like, here's what I create around support for myself, but there was still a little bit of a jab or a pull under it. Like, here's what I create, and I brought in you, loser, who did not support me, right? God love them. God love Viv and Lance for continuing to, just be here. And that's what's beautiful. That's what almost brings me to tears. What does bring me to tears so often is when I just see the love it takes to continue supporting someone who cannot feel your support. That is a grace, right? That is a grace. That is a guide and helper practically showing up at your doorstep. You know what I mean? Like really actually showing up at your doorstep. This is how loved and supported we are because divinity is moving through them on my behalf. And it's saying, closer, closer, closer. Let's put someone really right next to you and see if you can feel it now. Let's have them look at you with unconditional love and honor and see if you can feel one drop of that, right? And for so long, for me, it was like, I don't know what language you're speaking. It's not good enough. It's not what I desire. It's not what I need. It's blah, 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 And I invite you right now to just put your hand over your heart and put another hand over your belly. And you can just feel yourself and just say, I forgive myself for not being able to speak the language of support more fluently up until now. I just didn't know. If you don't know, you don't know. It's not like you wake up one morning and you can't speak Spanish and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm such a bad person because I don't speak Spanish. Well, how would you? If it's never been downloaded, if you've never practiced, there's no way you could. And so we don't have to beat ourselves up about that. We can just see what it has looked like. And I would dare say, as beautiful as Viv has been for me in support, she is part of that chain of who is supporting her that she isn't able to see. And my husband, right? He's great at supporting me, but who supports him? And where can he turn and see that actually the universe is conspiring on his behalf too? that actually he has his own support team that is loving him and tending him and propping him up and making sure that he has everything he needs. And what if he could relax into the resourcing of that? And as we all surrender and lean back into the resourcing of the help and guidance that's available for us, I wonder how that might shift this chain of interactions, right? And so instead of leaking energy, and everybody trying to plug the holes of the person they're supporting while leaking their own energy, right? What I have a sense of is as we start to allow ourselves to be loved and supported and filled, suddenly we're a chain of whole and complete beings, right? Or at least more whole and complete beings. And when that's the case, I wonder how it shifts our interactions. It certainly opens up new possibilities for energetically exchanging with each other, because it's impossible to energetically exchange fully and wholly if you're leaking, right? So you can have the best intentions, but if you're leaking energy, it actually just doesn't work. And that's one of the big downloads that I've been gifted with this new awareness is, I've shared before on the show how I did a whole year on working my Great Mother energetic exchange. The core energetic of the Great Mother path is more energy out than in. And so, I worked at all the levels in my system and in my chakras and my forgiveness conversations and my inner child and like all the pieces, right? And it made a huge difference. It's what allowed the big, shift and accumulation of resourcing of time and money and all of that. And with this new download, this is the layer of gifts. So I have been gifted with a new, we don't even have a word for her. We'll just call her our CEO, Amrita, my love, my darling. And one of her geniuses is she sees energetic exchange, like with this beautiful, magnifying glass. And it's just very clear for her, like, oh, this person's bringing this and this is bringing this. And then this is what it all looks like and how it flows. And I mean, really, I thought I was the only person on the planet really having that conversation. And then out of the blue comes this woman who hasn't been trained in this work, but actually sees it and brings a new perspective to it. And so as she's been working here these last several weeks, we've been just shifting and creating structures and putting pieces in place. And what I'm noticing are these really hidden patterns. Even with my direct seeing, even with my deep work on these pieces, I'm seeing these places that I have been leaking energy. And I keep pointing, they're like close up under my ribs, but it has to do with how I tuck people up under my ribs. And then I end up bleeding energy out, right? Because there's this kind of big sister energy around it. Like, oh, I'm going to hold you. And then I end up, not actually holding myself. And it's like there's no way that I could have seen that before I've seen it. And it feels like such a grace because the download is what's making my eyes new. It's what's putting Amrita in my space just in time for the download, right? It's what's allowing my system to have enough spaciousness to say, oh, and then here's that leak. And here's this really loving way we can start to plug that and have it come into more alignment for all of us, for all of the people engaged in that exchange, Just breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking, and such a miracle. I call those the sneaky leaks, where it's not for lack of looking or trying to plug them. So we do have to do that work. We have to do our proactive, let me see what's happening and go move some energy and, all of that. And then there's also this download this cosmic download that's happening is really about grace. It's like getting up under our cracks and saying oh, and then here's this little piece here that you don't need. And here's this other piece that you don't need. And gosh, I mean, to me, it feels like years and years and years of fast forwarding our evolution is what the download is really allowing to occur for us. So, is there anything else I want to say about this journey through support? Yeah. Part of the reason that it's scary for people, these downloads, is because I think some of us have a sense of how our lives have not been structured in alignment with who we really are. And so as we get an upgrade, there can be a sense of like, well, how will I stay in relationship with other people given who I will be now? And how can I keep doing that job that I've been putting up with once I start to actually feel how unsupporting it is to me, you know? And let's just be with that. Let's just be with that for a moment, because that's not a small thing. It's not a small thing. We did a show one time, we called it Burning Down Your Life. You know, and this is really one of the tricky parts of the pace of evolution that we're being called to now, is how do you have a life when you're constantly burning down all the structures, you know? And so I want to just tune in for a minute and actually see if the guides have anything to say about, yeah, of course they do. Yeah. So what they're showing is, those structures don't actually matter. Your belief is that they matter, but the belief is the thing that's in the way of them being up-leveled to meet you, right? And what they're showing is a boomerang. Like, if you allow yourself to relax from holding on to the belief that a structure means something or does something, what happens is it may get demolished, right? Or it may get cracked, or it may get moved off its foundation. But then what gets built in its place is one, it's like a shining crystal city is what they're showing me. And don't we want our crystal cities? Isn't it funny how we, you know, put a death grip on the burning ashes of the, you know, the asshole partner that we really just, you know, is driving us crazy, but we cannot let go of. And then, you know, we're avoiding what our guides are trying to shepherd in front of us, which is, you know, divine masculine Mr. Right on his shining horse, for example, right? And so I wonder, I'm going to do this for us as a group, and then I'm going to take some callers. So if you would like to play with me, I want to support you. And you can call in. The number is 937-552-2747. 937-552-2747. And, but I want to just do this for everybody here first. And then we'll just intend that the callers we take are, have medicine for all of us, and that their clearing will also become our clearing. So I invite you to feel into where you might be having attachments right now. So if you start to imagine you're like riding a roller coaster, and the roller coaster is this impending, you know, download and upgrade. Notice energetically where you are gripping. Where you are gripping to like, okay, I want the download, but as long as I can keep this, this, and this, you know? And you might know what the this, and this are, but you might not. You might just experience them as like, I don't know, this tendril over here is, you know, hanging on, and then I have one over here. And so as you begin to tune into what that is there a way that you could lovingly appreciate the attachment? So it's not about making it let go or cutting it off or being forceful in any way. It's just like noticing why it's there. And nearly all of our attachments are based on some sort of safety or security feeling, right? So somewhere deep in you, there's a belief that if I don't hold on to this, I won't be safe. And this, you know, the safety could be all kinds of things. Like if I don't hold on to this density and fear, I might actually ascend. You know, if I don't hold on to this crappy job that I actually hate, I might be free to do my real work in the world, and then that could be unsafe. You know, there's every kind of story and all of that. So let's just appreciate those attachments, because it's been the way that you've moored yourself to your life. You know, we couldn't actually live a life if we didn't have these types of moorings. So they're perfectly natural. It's the psychological response to fear. So having them means you have a healthy psychology, right? A healthy psyche. Good. Yeah. So really, really love them. Like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And the guides are actually saying you can hold on to them if you want. You can keep anything you want to keep. Yeah. So that's also good for your system to know that just because downloads are coming in, nothing will ever be forced upon you. You know, you really could go hide your head under the covers and, avoid most of what's coming in. And free will still exists. So that's also good to know. Your system will enjoy that. Yep. Yeah. And then what I like to do is I just ask. So I then would go back to one of the attachments that I'm noticing. And I would say, okay, only if it is in my highest and best good would I release this attachment right here. Right? And then I just let the wisdom of the attachment and of the universe and of my guides, it'll either stay or it'll let go. Right? So if it's in my highest and best good, I allow this attachment to let go. Yeah. And then you might notice it just dissolve, like, okay, actually, I didn't need that one. Okay, perfect. Turn your attention to the next one. Just asking the same question. Only if it's in the highest and best good do I choose to let this one go. Yeah, good. And sometimes it's easier if you don't actually know what they're about. If you don't try to dig for the story, because the story is actually a way of staying attached. So, then you get in a conversation with yourself about why you need it and why you thought you needed it and blah, blah, blah. So if you can just more imagine it as a construct, that will help you to move the energy of it and prepare your system. Yeah. Beautiful. Good. And so from this space, there's actually a download of love and support desiring to come in right now. It's a little bit like a reward and also like they're just like, oh, thank you. Thanks for getting out of the way. And like, here it comes. So just breathe in. There's nothing to be done. It's all being done for us this time. Yeah, and they're actually saying, you don't have to track it. You don't even have to watch. Like, the more you watch or try to see, the more it actually slows down, and then they just have to pause their work. So let me ask them, what can we do instead of tracking? They're showing me gratitude actually opens the pathways as well. So they're showing me like praying hands and just like, thank you. Thank you for doing this for me. Ooh, there it is. Yep. And your system may be faster or slower than mine. So what I invite you to do is just, if you're in a place where you can just relax. We talked last week about playing in this way of like surrendering and then sort of like riding the horse, right? So for me, I'm noticing I like a blend of relaxing and then the downloads happen. And then I'm also like, it just feels good to sort of move my body a little bit. So I might be laying down, but now like my hands are wanting to make some little circles and some mudras, and my arms are kind of like flowing and stretching. So just honor what feels good in your system. So many of us have a construct around surrendering or being penetrated or having something done to us. And so if there's a way that you can participate, right, participating in gratitude, then we're partnering with the energies rather than having them be pushed on us. And so then we don't have to resist, right? So imagine that, partnering with the energy in whatever feels inspired within your own system. Okay. All right. So with that, I'd like to invite a caller. Let's play with, I would like to just take a look and see in your system if there's anything in the way of you allowing support to find you. So we'll take a minute to have Viv put someone through. And in the meantime, we just get to be in gratitude and receiving. And as you're playing in the gratitude and receiving, you may notice like another hidden attachment, right? Like, well, I would be in gratitude, but then there's this thing in my back, right? And so same thing. If it's in my highest and best good, I would let go of this thing in my back, right? That's making me stiff and bracing, right? And then just be patient. Sometimes they go quickly, and sometimes it takes a little bit for them to be convinced. So let's answer the phone here. Hi, this is Jody. You're on the air. Who's this? And actually, you may have yourself muted because I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay.
Kind of.
My name's Sandy, since you probably didn't hear it.
Beautiful. Yes, Sandy. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell me, what would you like us to take a look at? I can't hear you again. It's actually, it's kind of buzzy, and then we can't hear you. So you want to, if you have a headset on, you may want to take the headset off, if that's possible. I think we're getting the medicine of Sandy's share right here, actually. Who can support me with this effing technology, right? Okay, so let's just play here. Okay, Sandy, this is going to be wild. I'm going to work with you even though I can't hear you, okay? So, because I'm getting the transmission of the frustration, and so I have everything I need. So hopefully you can hear me. And if you can't hear me in this moment, you can come back and listen to the recording. But I think you can hear me. I just can't hear you, okay? And I'm going to leave your line open. So at some point, it may clear. We may be able to hear you again. But here's what I'm feeling in the energy is there is actually a lot of static in your energy field, right? Around, it feels like there's an energy of like, I have to discern every piece. I would need to check it to see what's coming in and how I would file it. And I would want to know what it is and then what I would do with it, right? So there's just a lot of like, I'm static above your head is what I'm feeling. And it's a little bit like in the, the Peanuts, is it Pigpen, who walks around with like the dust cloud above his head? That's what I'm feeling. So let's just tune into that for a minute. Let's just tune into that. And notice how it's there. And then there's a part of you that feels like you're a victim to it, right? Like, I don't know why I do this and I wish it would go away. And what I want you to tune into is here's the cloud. And then there's almost like two straps that come down from the cloud. And I see you actually like attaching them right at the base of your neck on each side. So see if you can tune into that. This is definitely processing for many, many people because this is part of the upgrade, right? The mind has been in the forefront and it's so overactive. So many people have like opportunistic energies and things that are being let go of right now that relate to this over mind processing, So there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just this is the thing that we're actually moving out of. So it's perfect. So I want you to tune in and see. Actually, they already just came and took it. Oh my gosh, they're demonstrating it. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. It just got handled for you. Oh, you gotta love these guys. Okay, perfect. So what you may be experiencing is it might feel a little bare above your head. Just see if you can tune in first to the quiet. See if you can notice the quiet. And feel free to speak out at any time. We might be able to hear you. And also don't stress if we can't. Okay. So I can't actually hear you, but that's okay. So I want you to just feel the quiet. And I have a sense that the quiet might feel good and also might feel a little scary because you haven't really had quiet like that before. Yeah. So your guides are actually coming in to do a little work with you right now, and you just get to receive it. While they're doing that, I'm just going to speak something into your system, right? So I'm going to speak this into a little lower than your head. Trying to process all that's coming in right now, really ever, but right now for sure, is actually impossible because it's not thoughts and it's not information that can run through the mind. It's actually like DNA information and cellular information that's happening. And so you might actually be able to tune in and just feel your body sort of reaching for that right now. Like your body's a yes. Yeah. And so you could just let your body do what it does. And the brain might be saying some stuff. The brain might be like, but wait, but don't, what about me? And then you can just like soothe the brain. That's actually where your guides are working right now, is to kind of give you a different sort of orientation up there. And you can put your hand over your own heart and a hand over your belly just to calm yourself. This is so good. And you have free will even here. So you can just say, can you slow down a little, please? Right? So this is you in connection with your guides. If it's too much, you can say that. If it feels good, don't say that. But I had the sense it was a little much. Yeah. Isn't that great? Isn't it great to be not only supported such that you have energies from the spiritual realms coming down to upgrade your DNA, but that they're so responsive and loving that all it takes is you saying, can you slow down, please? And they love you that much that they're just handling you with the most gentleness and care. Yeah, and your system really isn't used to that gentleness and care. And so that also becomes the medicine, right? The way it's being delivered is part of the medicine for you. Yeah, and then I'm just tuning into, there are 2 lightning bolts at the edge of your energetic boundaries. I get curious if you might have intentionally put them there. It may be part of an energy practice that you do, boundary-wise. And what I'm noticing is that those boundaries are actually, they're good in one sense, and they're also in the way. Because they were set out of fear, but they're also such that they can't be penetrated without you agreeing. And so even if you don't know what I'm talking about, can you just imagine at the very edge of your energy space that there are these 2 lightning bolts? I see kind of one out to the right and one out to the left, kind of front, up at the top. And what I'm getting is that in this moment, you could just take them down because it's everything above you that's wanting to come in is benevolent energy. But if that doesn't feel good, perhaps replace them with something that actually has more of that quality, right? Like benevolent energy can come through and nothing else. You could also just take them down for while I'm here holding space with you, and then you could put them up again later if that feels good. So let's just try that on. Yeah, those lightning bolts are actually responsible for the static. It's like one of those horror movies, where the lightning bolts like hits and then it creates the arc between the 2 places. That's actually what's happening up there. Yeah, and what I'm called to share here is this is also part of the upgrade. So there's no shame in any of this. There's no those worked in the old vibration. And then just now, as we're moving into this new phase, we're going to be upgrading all kinds of old constructs, even old energy constructs. Mm-hmm. Yep, and we're just hanging out here because this one's taken a little bit. Mm-hmm. Yep, I see you have the left one down. That looks really good. And I see the right one really holding on. Let me just ask if we really, I mean, they're saying they can work more with you now that the left one is down, but the right one is almost like having a splinter in your finger. Like it's gonna get abscessed if you don't do something with it. So let's just keep playing there. I'm going to do a little work on your behalf too, if that's all right. Just checking energetically with you. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this just looks like an old karmic piece. So there's some negotiation happening on your behalf in some higher realms. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There you go. Go ahead and move your head. Just like move your neck side to side. Kind of shake your head a little bit. Mm-hmm. There you go. Big, deep breath. There you go, sister. Mm-hmm. Well done. Beautiful. Okay, so that feels complete. I would love to, I'm sure everyone is dying to hear if this was anything, right? Or if we were totally off track or how you're feeling. So let's share that over in the tribe if you're willing. If you're not in the tribe, it's facebook.com/groups/Wild Soul Medicine Radio Tribe. That's where we talk after the show and in between the show every single week. So let's play over there and, yeah, you can let me know. And I'm totally open. If you're like, I didn't follow any of that, I didn't feel anything, whatever, say whatever's true for you. But I would just love to hear what you're experiencing now. So let's do that over there. Okay, great. So let's do another caller. That was fun. It was fun for me because I can see what's happening on the other end. I hope it was compelling for those of you watching. And I actually do feel like a window opened up above a lot of us. And almost like a kind of a hole in the atmosphere that feels really good energetically. So some of you can just draft right up underneath the hole that Nancy created for us there. So thanks, Nancy, for letting us play with you. Okay. Oh, shoot. I thought a call was coming in. One more second. Great. So what you can do in the meantime here as we're waiting is just go ahead and receive a big deep breath for yourself. Mm-hmm. Big deep breath for yourself. Feel free again to move your body. You can stand up, turn around. You can relax more if you're feeling. If you caught the draft of Nancy's relaxation, you might just feel like sort of melting into a puddle, and that's perfectly cool too. All right, I'm just moving some crystals around, and let's say hello to our next caller. Hi, this is Jody. You're on the air. Who's this? Oh, great. Okay, interesting. If you are muted, let's start with that. I don't think it's my stuff. We could hear Nancy for a minute. Okay, I think I might be able to hear you. Can you talk now?
It's Leah.
There we are. Hi. Hi, Leah.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Awesome.
Now that I've done some of these exercises with you.
Good. Good. So where are you still feeling hung up? How can I help?
Okay, so I've been doing the inner child work, surrendering constantly, gentleness, all those things that you've been talking about. I guess I get hung up when the opportunity actually comes, that I don't take it. It's like I'm still attached to staying small. I'm still attached to my ex. I feel like it's karmic. I'm ready to take it to the next level. There's a couple ways that it manifests.
Okay. You still there?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to tune in as you're talking here. I actually feel like there's a... so when you talked about you've done this inner child work, I feel like there's a disconnect between your being in relationship with your little girl and then being in your power, like out in the world, right? Like where is there a place for her? Because it feels like as you try to go out in the world, there's this childish quality about it where you're not really sure how she can be in the picture and you can be powerful. Does that resonate?
Yes, I never thought of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
There is this part of me that wants to play and love and help women love themselves and play, but it's like I can't take the steps to do it. I'm a massage therapist and an acupuncturist, but also like I can't get out of the massage because it pays the bills and I'm good at it, but it's hard on my body and I'm ready to take it to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I lose sight of the little girl and nurturing her sometimes because I am the supporter. I have been in the supporter role so long with my mother. I'm sorry, I'm jumping all over the place.
I got it. I actually got it. And that's what you're doing is what's happening in your energy system, right? Is there's like, it's like sparking because there's this disconnect between like the inner and the outer, the little and the big. There's a lot of dichotomies. I'm also feeling like when you say surrender, there's a quality of punishment to that in your system below the surface. Like I see almost like a cowering. So the way that surrender happens feels like so naked, so like surrendering means I'm not defended, So who would want to surrender when that's the experience, right? And then there's like, again, that's why then I have to go out in the world and be in control, but then you're hemorrhaging energy because there's not an opening for exchange to really find you, So you have to stay small because you can't actually metabolize any energy back in because you don't really have a safe pathway for that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's also why you're struggling to let these energies in that are so benevolent and loving and supporting, because actually I don't see any pathway in where your system is a yes to that yet. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So we need to build a road. Let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah, this is for everyone too. Oh my gosh, so many women are like, amen. Thank you, Lee, for doing that, Leah. Okay, so, gosh, it's so pervasive. It's even your whole, like it's from third chakra all the way up, like your whole upper body. I don't actually see even any structure for a pathway in. Just super interesting. So let's just ask. I'm going to invite your guides to come forward. Oh my gosh. So there's 3 of them. One of them just said, we've got your back. Like literally they're moving around to create this boundary and field for you. Yeah. So just,
I'm nervous.
I know. You can just say that to them, right? You can say it energetically or out loud, like, okay, but what does that mean? I've never had anyone have my back, right? Or my sense is that when someone had your back, they didn't actually treat it very nicely. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I know you do. I know you do. So you might say like, hey, could you move really slowly around my back because it's hard for me to trust there? Or whatever other structures would feel good to you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then the invitation for you is, so go ahead and put both of your hands somewhere on your body. I think one in the lower half and then one at your heart space. And you can move the hands, right? What we want to do is cue your body to wake up. So we're asking your body if it was safe to be supported by these energies that have shown up to love and support me. How would I know? What evidence would there be in my body that says I can trust what's happening here? This is just an inquiry. We don't have to say yes, but you're just letting your body begin to try it on. There you go. Just slowly, slowly. Yeah, so I'm going to just help your body a little bit. So one thing you might tune into is there any, do I sense any violence in the space at this moment?
Any violence?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your body's checking that, right? Your body, so it's almost like your nerve endings are reaching out to be like, it's like they're poking their little heads out and like periscoping around, like, okay, I don't see any violence right now. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of trauma in your system, sweetheart. Mm-hmm. Which we want to just treat really gently, really gently. That's what I was saying before. So many of us have, we have experience with being penetrated and punished and injured, right? So the way that we perceive download is like that. Like, well, I don't want to get downloaded, you know? So we might even just say that to these guys. Like, the request from Leah is that she not be downloaded. Is there another way that she could receive this energetic up-leveling of grace? They're actually showing me they're presenting a bowl in front of you so that you could actually scoop your hands in it, right? Like as if it was water and you could scoop up a handful of water. And like you could just do that for yourself and imagine that you could put it on your body, right? So you're doing it yourself and you're not having to like cower and wait for something to arrive. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'll just do that for a minute. Yeah, good job.
I feel like my kidneys are talking to me.
Yeah. What are they saying?
They want support. They want the water.
Mm-hmm. Great. Can you give that to them, or do they want the helpers to do that?
They want help.
Okay. Are you on board with that?
My brain thinks so.
Yeah. And I wonder if there's a way the helpers could stay so you can see them, but then they just reach a hand around to each kidney because you have a helper on each side and one in front. So that way you can keep an eye on them, but also let yourself be supported. You're not going to get blindsided. Mm-hmm. Yep. So they're offering actually like almost like a dialysis of all of the trauma and anger and other people's pain that you run through your system there. So they're just going to help you offload some of that. So this isn't even a download. This is an offload. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep, and just keep handing it over. And they've got all kinds of capacity. Mm-hmm. Your system also needs to know offloading these other people's energy actually frees them as well. We take people's stuff on because we think we can do it better for them than they can do it themselves, but actually it sort of stalemates the energy for both of you. So to truly help them, just keep letting it go. Mm-hmm. Ooh, good job. Mm-hmm. There you go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just a little bit more.
What'd you say?
Just a little bit more.
Okay.
Yep, if you're up for it. Just a little. They're kind of now working just above the kidneys. This the adjacent place is kind of up in your spine, in the back of your third chakra. The third chakra is the power center and the will and the identity. This is where the disconnect has been, right? The inner, the outer, the, like I'm all over the place, because this is the connecting piece.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, it's okay to be here. It's okay to be here while they do it. It's so good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you feel your spine just straighten up and your shoulders drop?
Kind of. I feel it. It's right below my heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's
definitely feel tingling just under my spine.
Yeah, there's a lot in that whole space. Kind of the rib cage. It feels like your rib cage is actually really tender. Yeah, so as they're working, I'm just drawn to say, like, can you tune into how your cause is being championed right now?
How my what? I'm sorry.
Your cause, you, right? You are being so championed right now with these beautiful guides that are here doing this work. Mm-hmm. Yep. And what they're requesting, sweetheart, is if you have time to stay in this space and you feel safe doing so, I mean, I think you can feel at this point how much they just love you, and you can ask them to stop anytime, but they'd like to continue working up through your system. So if you have time, it might be nice to just go lay down and let them continue putting things back in alignment if that feels good.
Well, I do have to go to work, but can I come home later and restart this?
Yeah, I'm going to invite you to ask them that. I'll just hold space because I want you to be in communication with them so that it doesn't have to come through me. So see if you could just tune in.
They say yes, of course.
Of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard one of them say, like, how about bedtime? That would be perfect. We could work with you all night. Yes, please.
I just want to be more open to my guys. It's something I crave. When what I'm hearing from you is that I have to allow the offloading first or simultaneously.
Yeah, let's refine that. Yeah, go ahead.
Kind of like with the last caller, static, releasing that first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for saying that. Because really I guess that was the moral of the story that I was telling too is in order to be available for this download, I've done so much offloading up until this point, right? And even as the uploads are coming, it's bringing forward like up, and then you still have a fear attachment over here, and then this thing's in the way there, right? So it's kind of like remodeling. You know, it's like remodeling your house. You could say you want a brand new kitchen with no mess, but there's really no way to put the new kitchen over the old kitchen, right? Like you're going to have to tear some stuff out.
Right.
Yep. And, you know, and again, this is where we can participate in it. And you may want to do that as you're building the trust in your system. And then also remember from the last caller, like the more our minds try to get involved with the controlling, the slower the process is. So I like to do some of both. Like I like to know what's happening, but then sometimes I just be like, okay, go ahead and do your thing. I trust you guys. You know? And again, that's part of the medicine. That's part of the medicine that you're learning to trust and be supported and to have a conversation with your guides, right? So that you can invite support even beyond this.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And we'd love to hear from you. I mean, again, it's not a striving, so it's not like I did it and I'm great, but just like, you know, what's the experience like for you, you know, in a couple of days? We'd love to hear that if you feel up to sharing.
Okay.
Beautiful. All right, honey. Thanks for letting us play with you.
Thank you. My pleasure, Jody.
Mm-hmm. All right, sweetheart. Bye for now.
Bye. Bye.
Beautiful. So good. So the guides would like me to just share that, again, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. There's multiple dimensions of meaning within that, right? Meaning we would do it all for you if you would let us. And also there's no must. And so you could completely forego it if you wanted to. Yeah. And then they're just saying, you are loved and all is so well. This is when it begins to get easier. This is when it begins to get easier. So I love and adore each and every one of you for being here, for all of the ways, big and small, that you will surrender and dance and love and white knuckle your way into to this next phase of our collective becoming. I'll be here right beside you the whole way. Until next week, bye for now.
We light a candle, our hearts awake. Illumination, for God's sake. A revelation, for God's sake. an inspiration, for God's sake. Illumination, for God's sake. For God's sake. For God's sake.